In Copenhagen, two sets of money were promised to developing countries. The first was a $10 billion a year over the next 3 years Fast Start Fund, and that was designed to immediately tackle some of the problems that countries like Bangladesh are already having, with increased rate of flooding. Kenya is having, increased rates of drought, and that money is there to try and help people straight away. That money is coming from developed countries, and the UK is one of those that's already committed some money to that scheme. And then in the long term, there's plans for $100 billion a year by 2020, and that's to go to both adaptation, so helping cope with the impacts of inevitable climate change, and mitigation, so trying to reduce emissions, perhaps through stopping deforestation in poorer countries. Where that money comes from is a $100 million question at the moment. I think education is really important in fighting climate change, because unless you're armed with all the facts, people can't make sensible decisions on what needs to be done. And in countries in the UK where it's about everybody doing their bit, you need to know first of all what needs to be done, and then how you can do your bit, the things you can do, and the things that you need to pressurise your government or the companies you buy from to do to help tackle climate change. I'm doing all the sort of things that you're meant to do as an individual to help tackle climate change. One of the obvious ones is recycling, because if you use recycled materials, it uses less energy and resources than using new glass or paper or plastic. I have got my flat fitted with double glazing and energy saving light bulbs, and I put a jumper on and turn the thermostat down instead of wandering around with the radiators blaring heat and the windows open in the middle of winter. Within the UK, if I'm going somewhere where I could fly or I take the train, then I take the train. But the contribution that I really see myself making is to write about these issues and get information out there. I think in developed countries there's a bit of a feeling of, well, we'll be all right, particularly in the UK, because the UK looks like it's one of the countries that's going to be hit least hard by some of the worst impacts, such as droughts and floods. But climate change is going to happen everywhere, and even if it isn't happening on our doorstep, we live in a global world, and if there are food shortages in Africa, it's going to push up the price of food here. We might see increasing numbers of climate refugees being forced from places, like Bangladesh, where they can't live anymore, and it's going to affect everybody. So we've all got to pull together and stop thinking about this as somebody else's problem, and realise that it's everybody's problem, but it's also an opportunity for everyone to live a more sustainable life.